So diameter calculation for knurling, not as hard as it needs to be. Right now we're starting with a set of 35 TPI knurls in our knurler. So we'll start with that. And what we need to know is the distance between teeth on the knurling wheel. So we'll take our inch and divide it by our 35 TPI. And we get 002857, so we're going to round that off at 029. So this is our space between the teeth of the knurling unit. Right now we have a piece of brass in the machine that measures 2.1 inches. Circumference of that, of course, will be 2.1 times pi, which equals 6.594. And that's our circumference. So if we take our 6.594 and divide our tooth spacing into it, we'll see if it comes out equal. 0.29. So we get 227 and change. Now, if we pick a number, let's say 225, so we can't go bigger than what our material is, so just pick 225 as a nice even number, and multiply it by our pitch, 0.29. That comes out to 6.525. Now if we divide that by pi again, to get back to a diameter, we'll come up with 2.078 inches. So that would be our target diameter to get an even number of knurls around the part. And you can pick a smaller diameter as long as it winds up to be a multiple of your 0.29 tooth spacing. Piece of cake, clear as mud. We're at 78.5. I can take that. Okay, let's do some knurling. Okay, so we're at our target diameter, and we're also at the maximum that this tool can do as well, because we're slightly over 2 inches. I think what I want to do is just even the tool with our end, start a knurl here and run it down probably 1/4, 3/8 of an inch, and leave a little band of brass at the end, which should be nice looking. We may have to align our tool post. Let's just give it a quick test and see. You guys can probably see better than I can. So it looks like we need to tweak our tool post a little bit clockwise. I may have to move you, but I'll put you back again shortly. So let's have a look at our pattern. It's pretty good. We're going to give it a little more pressure. And and some fluid. Actually, just get a different stuff. Let's use a clearer one so we can actually see what's going on with it. So we'll advance down slowly. So we don't need a big band of knurl, just enough to adjust it by hand once we get it in place. So overall, it's a nice knurl. It's decent formed. A little small for my liking now that I have it on there, but we're not going to change it now. We have a little artifact at the ends. I think that may come from a little bit of clearance in the tool. So if we look at our tool and it's bolted through here, we have a small amount of play here on both. And I think when you reverse direction with it, it misaligns the rollers just enough to cause this artifact. So if we use it, when we use this again, I think I'm going to try to take all clearance out of here with careful adjustment, and we should be good to go. Don't have the right size tap handle. We get 2 wrenches that fit your tap. Put one on either side. That way you don't wind up twisting your tap off to the side. So it's been another couple of days since we tackled this project. Where we left off, we drilled and tapped the back for our pipe thread fitting. We rated the camper parts again and got some propane fittings that are going to work here. So we'll go from pipe to a 3/8 flare. We'll get a rubber hose on here connected to our water system eventually. And board our Teflon washer to match. Threading on this, like I said, will be done last. We increased the bore in the cover and gave it a bit of a finish on the top. So now we have, down in the frame, now we have our or the lower section, I guess, ready to go. What else? I had been thinking about using the leftover pipe to make a connector from here using an O-ring fit at the end. We machined out a little stub that we were going to put O-ring grooves in, and I got to looking at this pipe, and where the pipe went through the stripper to remove the aluminum fins, the knife had actually gouged it pretty good, and I don't have a straight section of pipe. I don't think I'm ever going to get this welded here to where it's going to be true enough that it won't leak. So I think I'm going to go a different route. I think I'm going to use a short section of PEX, machine a couple of fittings. One I can weld to the pipe here, and another one that'll fit into our O-ring fit down below, and this will give it a small amount of flex, which should make up for any misalignments in welding, and should work out a lot better than a rigid setup. So PEX is essentially 470 ribs on a 435 core, we'll call it. The right size hole through it, and roughly 5/8 of an inch long. So we're going to cut a PEX fitting at the end. The opposite side we'll radius it to fit our stainless tubing, and this will be the fitting to weld to the tubing, and we'll do the opposite for the upper end, where we'll leave it roughly 3/4 diameter and do O-ring grooves on it. Okay, we got. So we need to do a few ribs in here normally 3 ribs, so we'll just take our parting tool, we'll put 3 grooves in here and drop them down to 435. Touch 15, 16, 17 diamonds. Takes us to there. Step her over. So this will be our PEX fitting that we weld to the cross pipe. We'll part it off roughly 1/2 inch in and do a radius in there to fit our pipe when we weld it. So now we'll shift it out, do the same thing on the other end, and we're going to leave this at 1 inch for now till we determine our bore sizes.
on Thursday, April 19th,
Hi.
2018 at 7 p.m. A warm welcome is extended to our valued customer owners and the general public. Refreshments will be served at your house and Hamilton Credit Union is celebrating 27 years of serving Newfoundland and Labrador. Thanks to all for your confidence and trust.
The 2018 Ford F-150 is the truck every other truck wants to be. F-150 is the first pickup ever made with military-grade aluminum alloy. Vehicle, towing,
3.5.
right now is 0%
Do some
financing
alignment.
for 72 months on select new 2018 models from Kelly Ford. For details, visit kellyfordsales.ca or drop by 105 or along Gander. Speak with Malcolm Wicks, Jamie Lee, Jennifer Mitchell, and Shane Brown.
McCafe $1 plus tax any size premium roast coffee is back now till April 29th. It's one of life's little wins, like getting to sleep in. $1 hot McCafe coffee. Limit supply at participating restaurants in Atlantic Canada.
Feels good.
Speaking of Snooks has been talking about NLClassifieds.com for some time now.
Really not, but if you got whatever you need, don't you know?
So now that we got this part done, the next thing we're ready to do is get our dimensions for our O-ring fit and do some grooves on this side and a bore on this side so that everything fits together. Decent clearance, and we'll rotate when we need to move our water hose around.